kicks off on Thursday. That con is smaller than Anthrocon, which is the #1 con, but it goes longer, which is really weird.
So how do you wash them? How do you get the smell out?
We're going to get into that, actually.
Okay.
So the next thing, Febreze is one of those.
Full of Febreze.
But no, Febreze is not the #1 go-to. Okay, so the next thing we're going to go to is type of stuff you wear underneath this. I have what's called combat gear. It's a type of Under Armour that Nike uses. So this is what I use. I have a white pair on right now, but this is combat gear. This is actually really, really good. This is very light. It's very ventilated because it's not like full fabric. It's a mesh. You can still see through it. I found this out just recently. I've been using, I found this out less than a year ago, and these are a lot. I think these are a lot better than what my next thing is the Under Armour stuff. So the Under Armour is a lot heavier, and they have two different brands. They have cold gear and heat gear. That in itself is impossible because then you got to find the right kind. So the heat gear and the cold gear are designed to either keep you dry or keep you wet. So you want the fabric itself in Under Armour either emits sweat away from you or keeps it within yourself. If it emits sweat away from you, it's trying to keep you cool and dry, as opposed to your body using its own sweat to keep yourself cool. So that one that I just showed you was to keep sweat from emitting away from the body, because if you have your sweat emitting away from your body, it's going to get all over the next set of fabric, which is your suit. The next thing you know, someone's hugging you, and you're like, because you're all wet. That's really gross. Where else are you going to get? How else are you going to get wet? Right? So,
what material is it made of? Like spandex, nylon?
So the combat gear, I believe, is made out of a type of spandex. The Under Armour gear, I'm not so sure about, but the fact that it's heavier and it's not as ventilated, I actually prefer the combat gear. You can get combat gear anywhere. It's not as popular as Under Armour, so it's easier to find. And they're cheaper too, actually. Under Armour is a really, really big trademark, and if anybody's ever bought Under Armour before, it's like $30 for a top, and then another $25 for the bottom. Combat gear, you can spend $20 for a set. So the next thing is your socks. Yes, my socks match my suit. Don't judge me. Okay, these you can get anywhere as well. These are dry fit high top socks. These are wonderful. They're kind of thick, but that's what they are. They're dry fit. So I have 2 pairs of these. These things are wonderful. My feet will never actually sit in water or nasty sweat, because that's where all your sweat goes. These things are dry. These things are have you guys ever worn dry feet, dry socks before? The dry feet socks, dry fit socks. No? Yes. I wear them for weddings that I go to and things like that. The places where you're going to actually wear things where your feet don't get a lot of ventilation. Your feet stay dry with these. They're wonderful.
Any worry of pruning?
What's that?
Pruning, if you're in moisture too long.
What's that?
Fingers and toes will prune.
Yeah, it's true. And your hand paws will get wet. You'll take them off, in the Fursuit lounge. You put them back on, and they're like, your hands are all wet. You never want to take something off after 2 hours when you're sweating in it, and then you got to put it back on 30 minutes later. It's really, really gross. I've done that before, and I just if you ever see someone do that, they take it off, and you see them go, ew. Even from their own sweat. Gloves. I've done that. It's the same thing with your hands, your feet. Your head. Your head's the worst though, because then you feel it's all cold and wet and ew. Okay, so we went under Armour, cooling packs. Okay, so the next thing we're going to go over is the 6-2-1-8 rule. I added one on there. The 8 is a new thing that I'm trying to improvise, that I'm trying to implant into this whole set. So 6 hours of sleep every night or day. If you're nocturnal, good for you. Whatever, you're going to stay there for the Ravens, and at 2 o'clock you're going to have nothing to do. 6 hours of sleep is really, really important. At least 6 hours. I went to bed at midnight. I woke up at 9. So it's plenty of sleep for me. 2, at least 2 full meals a day. Your body runs on fuel. Where do you get fuel from? You eat, you drink water, you do electrolytes. I'm in school for nursing, so it's kind of important coming from, you know, medical professionals. Okay? A minimum of at least 1 shower a day. I do 2. I do 2 showers. I go, when I left this morning, I showered. When I get home, I'm going to shower. When I leave tomorrow from my girlfriend's house, I'm going to shower. When I get home to her house, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up and get another shower. It's really important to shower because no one wants to smell a musky fursuit. Okay? 8 cups of water each day. Okay? That's what the 8 is. The military requires you to drink 8 full ounces. What is it? Is it full? Okay. 8 cups of fluids. That's 30 milliliters, I believe. Yeah. So is preferred. I'm still trying to implement. That's why it's preferred. It's not actually in the thing yet. Okay. That's really, really important. Let's see. Fursuits, generally, you see, like, they generally have someone with them. So, do you have a handler? There you go. Can you both stand up? So you see the fursuiter, right? You have the person standing next to her is a handler. Okay, that's the go-to safety person. You know, sometimes they'll be like, "Oh my God, can I have a picture?" And then they'll give it to that person, and then you can take a picture with them, and then you can hopefully you'll hand the camera back, and then carry on about your day. Okay, so so is anybody here with a suitor that is not in suit? Okay, all of you guys are considered handlers. You're the fursuiter's safety. I have like outstanding vision, and I've been doing this for years, so I don't really walk around with one, and they can't keep up with me anyway. I don't sit still for very long unless I'm doing something like this. If you notice, like I keep walking back and forth. I still don't sit still. So I don't like sitting still when I'm in suit because if you sit still, then all your body's going to do is just fake, and that's just not me. For the fursuit handlers, safety is the number one. So they have to be wary. They have to be aware of their fursuiter's vision, their ears, their horns, anything that's like if they're 6 feet tall and they have horns that go up to 7 feet. You think they're gonna actually like realize that their horns are gonna hit the top of the door? No, right? So clunk, and then your horn's gonna fall off, and then you're gonna get all mad because the handler didn't tell you, hey, duck. You know, so it's really important to like understand the height, the distance in vision, and things like that. Protection from the overzealous fans. At some point in your fursuiting life, you have run into some person that goes like this, oh my God! And then they tackle you. And the first thing you're going to do is get away from me. I'm sure at one point you either have experienced or you were going to. I get at least one every time.
Were you the tackler?
Oops. No, don't do it. Don't do it. The handlers are also their timekeeper. So generally if you're in suit, you definitely lose track of time. There's no possible way you can be in the middle of suiting and go, oh, because you can't see your watch for one. You're going to be, it's fur 30.
It's fun.
So you have to understand that, like people who have suited for a long time, they're still going to lose. You're going to lose track of time regardless. So that's what the handler is also for. So if you guys both have plans to go to a panel and you're in the middle of suiting and then you have no idea what time it is, then you're going to either miss that panel, or you're going to miss that event, or you're going to miss out on whatever it is you're doing. Also, their timekeeper is really important because, like, hey, you've been suiting for the last 2 hours. How do you feel? You know, if they're gonna like, oh, I'm fine. You're like, yeah, like, let's go get some water or something because you've been running around like a madman for the last 2 hours and you haven't drank anything and you're not following the 6128 rule, right? So it's really, really important. Translation. A lot of suits don't speak in suit. Who doesn't speak in suit? You see all these people?
Sort of.
You know what that means? They're going to be doing this. You're going to be like, green? You're gonna be then. I mean, there are specific like you have to understand the pantomime language. So I mean, obviously, if they're doing this, then they're choking. If they're doing this, then they have to go to the bathroom. And having zippers in the back like mine, it gets kind of complicated because you can't like. I really have to go, but I can't reach. So you have to like, oh, here you go. For those people that don't, you really have to understand. You have to ask them. You know, they're going to be like yes. They're going to be like no. They're going to be don't do that. They're going to be like it's really hot. Let's take your head off. Pantomiming is really important. Basic general hand motions that are quite obvious. If someone doesn't understand it, then obviously that person hopefully will tell you. Like instead of saying like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Hopefully they'll say, I want to take my head off. Let's go. Then hey, that's obviously some kind of emergency that they want to go sit down, they need to go relax, they need to go get some water, they need to go to the bathroom, whatever. So handlers are, another thing is those that do talk. Have you guys heard the squeakers yet?
Oh.
Did anybody go to my squeak panel yesterday? So there's different types of communication. There's not only pantomime and regular conversation, but there's also the squeakers. Sometimes they overdo it. Well, most of the time they overdo it, and sometimes they don't. Hopefully, the panel that I hosted yesterday at the squeak panel, they'll actually take heed of my rules. And
Which are?
don't overdo it.
Just
If you're
don't.
walking around like just in regular clothes and you have no tail, nothing furry related on, you look like a normal person, and someone says, "Hey, how are you?" and you go, "Squeak." You're like, "Okay, you're dumb. I'm gonna go this way. I'll come back when you're done squeaking."
I've done that.
It's not a super bad thing. It's just frowned upon, because if you do that, then not only are you not being a normal not even like a normal person. I'm not saying like a normal person, because nobody in here is normal. You can't define normal.
Yeah. That's true.
It's gonna make you look like you're too into it. Hey, look, a fursuiter. No clothing. Hey, so that's a plantigrade suit, like mine. I don't see any digigrades in here. Is there a digigrade in here? Oh, there you go. Can you stand up? A digigrade, it gives it that the illusion of hind legs. So give it a walk around the room or something. So if you look at the leggings on the back, she has the calves that look like hind legs.
Oh, gotcha.
That's a digigrade suit. Those are generally more expensive than the regular ones, like these ones.
Oh.
I'm gonna cut your camera. So this hopefully the squeaking is kept to a minimum. I overdid it, and then I stopped doing it because I overdid it, and then everybody else started doing it, and then they overdid it, and then it just killed it for a lot of people. So the last thing for handlers is obviously the photographer part, which we already went over. I didn't realize we were going to go over this super quick. Is there any questions so far?
Cleaning.
What about props?
Props. We'll go over cleaning after props.
Okay.
Got that. Props. You stand up. You see his glasses? That's a prop. Any kind of props you want to bring. You can walk around with a backpack or a kitty thing that looks just like your suit. You can, anything can be used as a prop. You can carry around a shoe and then throw it at people and then be like, that's funny. I mean, a friend of mine, Axton, walks around with this giant steak.
Oh, yeah.
And he just hits you with it. I've hit people with pillows before. Just grab a pillow out of the lobby and then just attack people with it. Nope. That's a prop. Anything can be used as a prop, as long as it's not a deadly weapon. Other than that, I think you guys should be fine. Anything fluffy, your tail, you can use your tail as a prop. If you have a long enough tail, you can walk around with it and hit people with that. So it's anything that you're carrying with you is a prop. Anything you can wear on your head, hat, glasses, earrings, like they can be